Hey, everybody. It is Wednesday morning, 11 o'clock Central Time. I'm Dr. John Shirk, and that means this is Brown Bag Lunch, where I bring you nuggets, tips, tidbits every week on how to create the environment that is as tech friendly as possible so that you can compete successfully for their talent. Today, I want to talk about a study that was done at Google. And I know it's Google, but it enlightens um, our perspective here. Um, at Google, this study, uh, these researchers looked at 180 active work teams, like where they have shared work product they have to produce, and studied them. This kind of nerds like me, who are researchers, do this stuff. Made a list of every potential attribute, and then wanted to see which of the attributes correlated with the most successful teams, right? And they went into it thinking this was really going to be driven by individual talent. We've got a Rhodes Scholar and a PhD and some advanced engineers and a super strong extroverted leader of the group, and the individual talent was going to most strongly correlate to best results. And in fact, it did not. They were surprised. What actually happened was how the team members interacted made more of a difference in the success and productivity of the team than who was on the team, right? So imagine these 250 attributes. You kind of find a way to measure and like which ones have the biggest impact on positive outcomes from the work team, right? By the way, great review of this is done by Vanessa Van Edwards. If you look her up online, I endorse practically everything she does. She's a people skills person and does a program called People School that is fantastic, and completely endorse it. So, what are these top five out of 250 attributes? What are the top five that correlated with being most effective as a team? Here they are. Number one is psychological safety. Now that term sounds a little soft. That's a term that's used in my world, not used that often in craft labor world. But it's simply this: can people take a risk without feeling insecure or embarrassed? Right? What happens if someone burns out a circuit board? What happens when we thought we had one thing and it turned out we had something else was the problem, and somebody makes a mistake? What happens when there is the fear of that, and there is an expectation that I'll be humiliated or I'll be fired or whatever it is? The teams that were most productive had a feeling as if I can run fast and do my thing, and if I make a mistake, I can own it, and it won't be sort of held against me, or I won't get fired or that sort of thing. Number two is dependability. Now, this is saying, can we count on each other to do high quality work on time? So on this point, obviously we're talking about trust. So some history is part of this. But I also want to kind of draw your attention to the relationship between likability and dependability. So what happens when there's strong likability within the team? More frank, honest, direct conversations about work status happen, right? So if people are kind of working with, there's not psychological safety and there's not a lot of trust on the team, people don't tend to talk freely about the status of their work. And this leads to not delivering high quality work on time. Okay. Third, structure and clarity. So if you're the leader of this group, supervisor, service manager, owner, if you're the leader of this group, how are the goals, roles, and execution plans on the team clear? Are the expectations clear? If you're a service manager, is wearing booties in the house mandatory or recommended? What are the things that that structure the work and structure your expectations? I'll point you back to something I've talked about in a previous Brown Bag Lunch. When you talk to managers and say, do your people know what is expected of them? Almost 100% say absolutely yes. But when you talk to workers, this is Gallup, most trustworthy data organization on the planet with this kind of stuff. When Gallup asks workers with the survey statement, I know what is expected of me at work, going from strongly disagree to strongly agree, only 50% of workers strongly agree with that statement. Okay. So at minimum, if they knew it 3 weeks ago, clarity leaks. So how you set up meetings, how you set up agendas, how you include the customer in clarifying expectations, all of this is part of structure and clarity, right? So first three dynamics in a productive work team: psychological safety, dependability, trust, structure, and clarity. Now, what remains? Is the work meaningful to me? And is it meaningful to the people it impacts? Right? So when I say meaning of work to me, are we working on something that is particularly important for each person on the team? So if you have someone who's working for you, do they feel connected to the people that they work with socially? So there's social meaning that, I don't want to let these other people down, right? Or is there a mission meaning where the work and the contribution matters for a greater purpose, for their individual greater sense of purpose? Or is there incentive meeting where the work is going to be rewarded with esteem or actual compensation, right? So there's some kind of traction where people in the group have a sense of purpose for it being meaningful to them. There's something in it for them somehow, right? The fifth one is the impact of the work. Do we fundamentally believe that the work we're doing matters, right? Now, this doesn't have to mean that you're basically acting like Mother Teresa, but having a sense besides yourself that this work matters to the customer, to the greater community, to, however you want to, in the air conditioning business, a lot of this comes from feeling the joy of knowing you helped a family get from a hot house to a 70-degree house, right? The benefit that they have received from that. But in whatever case, however that scenario is set up, do we understand what's at risk if we don't deliver? And do I understand my role in the bigger picture, right? Do I understand kind of the cascading effect of me doing my piece of the puzzle and the team doing its piece of the puzzle well, effectively? Okay, so how do you change a group of people into a team? Those are the 5 things: psychological safety, dependability, structure and clarity, meaningful work, meaning to the individual doing the work, and meaningful impact of the work on the people around it. Now, why do I do a lesson like this? Because I think it's very common for a service manager or a supervisor or an owner to look at a difficult situation where somehow someone fell short and say, if I just had people with more talent, this would not have happened, right? Now, the point of the study is saying, no, you have to have a baseline minimum level of talent, but the performance is going to be based on how that group interacts, not based on the raw individual talent of any one individual. Okay? So keep that in mind. As you look at the team that you have, if you feel like, man, I got a kind of motley crew here. I got one good guy and I got 4 guys I don't know what to do with, right? Your leadership matters a lot. Now, if you have guys who are below minimum, that's a different question. But, if you have guys who are solidly average, your leadership will take that to the next level. You don't have to have rock stars. Okay? All right. My name is Dr. John Shirk. This has been Brown Bag Lunch. I hope you caught a little bit in there. I would love for you to reach out, share this with your friends. Let me know if you'd like to spend 15 or 30 minutes on the phone getting to know each other. That's it. I will see you next week.